Welcome back to Almost Game Day. As always, I'm your host, Sean Green. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Episode 7. We're halfway there. We've only got so many more weeks left, but I'm excited to bring you another good show. We've got a couple of big things to talk about, so let's get right into it. J.J. Watt got announced earlier this week. He is going to the Arizona Cardinals, a move that surprised a lot of fans. A lot of people assumed Cleveland. A lot of people thought maybe he'd go play down in Pittsburgh with his brothers. Hey, maybe go up to Buffalo. Great defense up there. They could use a guy like J.J. Watt, but he didn't. He chose to go to Arizona to play with Chandler Jones. Now, the really interesting thing about this move is, number one, it was not expected. J.J. Watt really kept his cards close to his chest and didn't really tell anybody where his thought process was going. I was on Bets a couple weeks ago, and we even discussed, listen, is it going to be a money type move, or is it going to be a, hey, I want to go win a championship type move? And I think with this move, we can really try to understand it's kind of a little bit of both. Now, there is some things we have to discuss with Arizona. They are not anywhere close to a championship caliber team, right? J.J. Watt took the money. He's making about $16 million per year now on the Arizona Cardinals. Teaming him up with Chandler Jones, listen, probably one of the best, or two of the best pass rushers in the NFL. They are two of the best pass rushers in the NFL. The problem between both of them is, can they stay healthy? And then you have a bunch of other problems with the Cardinals. It's not just the defense. The offense isn't consistent. If you watch the bets from yesterday, I said, listen, the Cardinals, they can easily make the playoffs with this roster. But consistency is huge. Listen, and Cliff Kingsbury, he knows. He understands the problems. You have a killer offense with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. And then that defense, it has some studs. Now you have J.J. Watt. You have Chandler Jones. But again, you're losing Patrick Peterson at corner. You're losing a bunch of people in that secondary spot that you're going to need to retool, regroup. Isaiah Simmons, very young type of player. So, do I think this is a great move? I wouldn't say great. I think it's a really solid move for a team that needs a guy like him and can make that defense better. Now, for J.J. Watt, do I really think he's looking to go to a Super Bowl caliber team? I don't know. I think he sees there's potential, and you can kind of see with this deal, does he think it's going to take 2 years to make Arizona that type of team? Does he think it's a quick go to Arizona and play like that? It reminds me a lot of the Houston Texans a couple of years ago. Arizona reminds me a lot of that team that's just on the cusp of a playoff. You don't think they're Super Bowl caliber, but they're really good. They can win some tough games, but they can also lose some easy ones. So I think time will tell to see. J.J. Watt definitely took the bag. There's no question. But what can they make out of this, especially with those two? Basically, two studs in Chandler Jones and now J.J. Watt. Now with that, I want to bring on Alex Funderburke. Again, knows a lot about the NFL, to talk about J.J. Watt. Alex, you saw the news. What was your first reaction to the J.J. Watt news?
I think my first reaction was the same as everyone. It was kind of like, why the Cardinals? No one really saw that coming. I thought he was for sure going to the Steelers or the Bills. It just seemed like great fits. Now, kind of like with what you said, it's not really just a money move. It's also a ring move. Like, you can do both here. I think if the Cardinals can get an O-line to keep Kyler Murray safe, I think that offense can be really good. That defense, like you said with Jones, really good. You got to shore up your secondary, yes, but they do have that potential. Do I think they're going to win a ring this season? No. But I think that they can be that team that might shock some people. I think a lot of people are forgetting how good they can be. It's easy to say, he's just chasing the bag, because he did get a lot of money. Like 16 mil per year is a lot of money. But this team has the potential to be very good.
Now, when you look at that NFC division, right, or the NFC in general, there's a bunch of Super Bowl contenders. It's always a fight to the finish. Last year, you even look at it. You look at New Orleans. You look at the Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay. It's a fight to get to that Super Bowl spot. Where does this put Arizona, especially in a division with Los Angeles? You go down the list. Arizona, who in that division or in the NFC, does this put them in a good contention for the Super Bowl or even a playoff spot?
I think that they'll make the playoffs. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But right now, I think the NFC is in tiers. I think the Packers, the Bucks. I think that's your tier 1. The Saints, they're in there too. And then your tier 2 is, the Rams, the Cardinals, teams like that. And I think the Cardinals are in that second tier. Do they have the capability of jumping up to that first tier? Yes. They if they can get an O-line, they'll be in that first tier. But that O-line needs a lot of work.
Now, you look at the Cardinals, right, and you just said the O-line, 100%. But when you look at this defense, right, what stands out to you, not just Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, what stands out to you that makes this, a solid defense? Because when I look at it, the defense doesn't pop off the page for me.
Yeah, no, and I think a lot of people kind of are down and out on Isaiah Simmons because he wasn't great last year. But I do think he has the potential to be a stud. And he's kind of that guy who can kind of play everywhere on the field. I know he didn't do it in his rookie season, but year 2, I think he's gonna prove a lot of people wrong.
Who's one guy on that defense? Again, you say Isaiah Simmons. Who's one guy that really needs to make a big leap? I know, again, usually second-year players like Isaiah Simmons, they make that jump. But you're losing Patrick Peterson, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's been your cornerstone for that franchise for years. Is there a guy, even if it's on the offense too, is there a guy that really needs to, have a career year for the Cardinals to be successful?
I think if you're looking on defense, I want to see Budda Baker do it again. Like, he had a great season last year. Do it again. Like, stay consistent with it. On the offense, I want to see more out of Andy Isabella or Christian Kirk. Give Hopkins some cover, right? If they're doubling Hopkins, those two need to step up and be the guy that Kyler can go to. Because Hopkins is a beast. He's gonna command 2 people covering him all the time. But can Andy Isabella and Christian Kirk be those guys too?
So you have San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals. Who comes out of that division next year? Who do you see coming out as winning that division?
That's tough because with the Seahawks, it's what's going to happen to Russell Wilson. I think if the Seahawks have Russell Wilson, they're my favorite just because I think Russell Wilson is that type of player where he can just win the division by himself. But without Russell Wilson, I would probably lean Rams and then the Cardinals. But I think I would not be shocked if the Cardinals surprised some people and ended up winning that division if Russell Wilson gets traded.
It'll be interesting. We will see. It's an interesting move. So I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about J.J. Watt going to the Cardinals? Drop it down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. He's a stellar talent. There's no question. J.J. Watt is a stud. I think he's going to do great things over in Arizona, and I think he's going to have one of his best career years. New start, fresh start, get away from that rotting Houston Texans team and create anew. I think it should be very interesting, but they have to be consistent. Let's move on to another guy not signing with the team but getting released. Kyle Van Noy got released from the Miami Dolphins, a move that I think shocked almost everybody in the NFL. Just signed a 4-year, $51 million deal last year. Basically was one of those defensive leaders on the Miami Dolphins. And it, quite frankly, shocked me. Alex, I just want to get your initial thoughts before I go into whatever the Miami Dolphins are doing. But when you saw the news pop up, what were your first thoughts?
My first thoughts were, this is why I hate the people who yell at players to honor their contracts when they request a trade, is because teams can do stuff like this. They really had no reason to cut Kyle Van Noy, but they cut him anyway. So when Deshaun Watson demands a trade, I don't understand why people get mad at him. Like, no one's getting mad at the Dolphins owners for not sticking to Kyle Van Noy's contract. They just let him go, right? So stop being mad at players for wanting what's best for them because teams can do it.
And he had one of his best career years. Like, he left the Patriots, played great in Miami. Like, he played good. He was one of the defensive leaders. And listen, there's no question. He got the $30 million guaranteed. He's fine in that. Miami still is going to have to pay him. But he loved being in Miami. He loved it there. And I think I agree with what you said. Players saying, I want to leave, and teams being like, oh, well, we have your contract. This is ridiculous. Because players actually do love to play in spots. And it's not like Kyle Van Noy was terrible. He had a really good year. So I said it on Bet so I'll say it here again. There's only 3 places I see him going. And Alex, I'm going to ask you too what you think. Patriots, again, number 1. You played on the Patriots before. Bill Belichick loves you, just didn't want to pay you that big money. He doesn't need to get paid big money because Miami's paying your contract. So I think New England's a spot. Buffalo, Matt Milano, he's probably going to be gone if Buffalo doesn't want to pay him. So that could be a spot. And then Green Bay. Again, it seems like they're looking for a guy that can come off the edge and make impact. So I think those are my 3 teams that I could see. Is there an extra team that you see, Alex, that can make a jump and go get this guy?
I don't know if there's an extra team because you named 3 great picks, but I would say Buffalo kind of has to be the favorite. You miss out on the J.J. Watt sweepstakes, go make another splash. Like you said, they might not want to pay Milano. If they don't want to pay Milano, boom, Kyle Van Noy's right there. You don't have to pay him a lot of money. He already got the bag from Miami. He can come on a cheaper contract, and you got a stud right there for your defense.
It'll be interesting. We'll see very soon. Free agency starting in a couple weeks, and that'll be a crazy show on Almost Game Day. So we will see. Alex, stay on. We're going to talk Chris Sims' quarterback rankings for the upcoming draft. It's a doozy. Stay tuned to Almost Game Day. Here's the story of a show creator who was gearing up to form a bigger crew.
One's a California guy,
a god of graphics.
one hosted Girls on Deck.
It's a story of a 4-year nightmare, which is finally coming to an end. Thank God.
And the new kid, a Packers lover.
Tampa forever.
So then one day all these people work together to face a year unlike one that's ever been. And his group rebranded in Orlando. That's the way we all became HGFN. 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 That's the way we became HGFN. That's blasphemy! I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. You're used to the normal commercials we play every week. There's no words. I think the word that everybody can use is cringe. I guess I could say you're welcome. Johnny Jackson, just want to give a big shout out. He edited that cringy video that we all decided to partake in. So, yeah, I guess I say you're welcome. Alex, you were in the video. How did you enjoy it, I guess? What are your first thoughts on that?
Hey, that light-skinned kid who said that the new kid, that kid can really sing. I like him.
See, somebody in the chat said it a couple days ago. They said, I'm a better singer than you or something. I'm like, to be honest, we were just talking. It's one of those, we were just talking the words. It wasn't even a song. So maybe we have to, do a commercial where we just make it more cringe and sing. I know Johnny Jackson's in the studio right now waving his arms no, because he does not want to deal with another song. But yeah, your new kid line was pretty solid, Alex, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I want to thank the writers giving me the best line of all time. I'm gonna win a Grammy for it. Best feature, I mean, come on now, I'm a lock.
100% you're the best feature, 100%. Sorry to Robert, because he went hard on that song, no, I'm not gonna lie. But let's get into something that's not so fun. That was at least a little fun, but Chris Sims is at it again with his quarterback rankings. As you see, just like Okello said in that commercial, it's blasphemy. Zach Wilson, number 1 over Trevor Lawrence. That's just ridiculous. Zach Wilson's a good quarterback, but let's be real here. He's not better than Trevor Lawrence. Has Trevor Lawrence 2. Mac Jones 3. Kellen Mond made the rankings at number 4. Wow, that's interesting. Number 5, Justin Fields. And then number 6, Trey Lance. I'm going to go to Alex right now because Alex loves Trey Lance. This kid can't stop talking about Trey Lance. And Kellen Mond made it to number 4. So what are your thoughts on Chris Sims' quarterback ranking? I think everybody just gets cringe. Not as cringe as the Brady Bunch, but maybe cringier than that quarterback ranking. What are your thoughts on those?
Look, I'll give Sims some credit. He's normally right about these things. He got Lamar and Josh Allen. He got Joe Burrow last year, but I think everyone had Joe Burrow being the best. He normally gets these things right. But, Sims, buddy, what are you doing? Kellen Mond, come on, dog. Kellen Mond, really? Look, I like Kellen Mond, but he's not going to be a good NFL quarterback. He was fun to watch at A&M. That's it. He's a college quarterback. Stop sleeping on my boy Trey Lance. That's he'll be the second best quarterback in the draft. yes, over Justin Fields. Trey Lance is that dude. Everyone needs to stop sleeping on him. I know he went to North Dakota State. I know people are afraid it's going to be a second Carson Wentz, but Trey Lance is that dude.
Yeah, again, I'm a Patriots fan, and I said I don't want Trey Lance. I just don't want to deal with it. Like, I don't see a Josh Allen, and even Josh Allen's only had one good year coming out of Wyoming. I don't want to deal with Trey Lance. But when we're looking at the quarterbacks that he put up there, right, how can you put Zach Wilson 1? Like, how is that even feasible? There's no possibility you could put Zach Wilson 1, maybe 2, right? I do think he's better than Justin Fields, but how do you put Zach Wilson 1 over Trevor Lawrence?
Wait, hold up. You say Zach Wilson's going to be better than Justin Fields?
I don't want to go to listen. I was just trying to say
you don't even
Lawrence.
believe that, Sean. Come on now.
I think Zach Wilson's pretty good.
Zach Wilson is Josh Rosen 2.0. Zach Wilson would be a bust.
Josh Rosen.
He will be out of the league in 3 years.
Really?
I promise you.
Really?
He's not going to be good.
Yeah, but Josh Rosen couldn't move like Zach Wilson does.
That's fair, but no. It's Josh Rosen.
Okay, let's focus on why is Trevor Lawrence number 2?
Okay, look, he's going to go to Jacksonville. It's going to be hard to surround him with talent. He shouldn't be number 2, but I can see a world where you rank him number 2 just because of what he's going to be around. No one's going to want to come to Jacksonville. Urban Meyer's not going to be a good coach, I don't think. He's going to leave in like 3 years because of headaches again and retire, but then coach again 2 years after. So I can see a world where you put Trevor Lawrence 2. I wouldn't do it. I think he's going to be the best quarterback. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league real soon. But I can at least see how you get there. Putting Wilson 1 is ridiculous. If you're going to put anyone else 1, it's got to be Fields or Lance. But
yeah, Trey Lance, no, absolutely not. Mac Jones, talk of the draft so far. Alabama wide receivers, which again, everybody's a Tua fan. It seems like here at HTF, but it seems like his wide receivers at Alabama like Mac Jones better. So what is it about this guy? Like, I don't like Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL. Never have, never will, until I see some change. What is it about Mac Jones that people are raving about? Somebody, I don't know if it was Jalen Waller or Devontae Smith that said he's Tom. They referenced he was like Tom Brady that could move, like he's mobile. What is it about Mac Jones?
I don't know if he can move. Did you see the championship game where he slid awkwardly? Like I wouldn't say he can move, but I don't know. I have the same thing with you about Alabama quarterbacks. It's just I can't do it because they always have these stud wide receivers that are some of the best in the country. But what I will say is Mac Jones has the ability to be a slightly above average game manager. I don't think he's going to be that dude that wins you a game, but he's also not going to cost you a game. He has the potential to just be like, who's a completely average quarterback in the NFL right now, Sean?
Carson Wentz.
He can be a Carson Wentz when Carson Wentz is healthy, right? He's not going to win you anything. He's not going to lose you anything. He's going to have some good seasons.
Hey, maybe Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew. There you go. That's another one, right?
There you go.
These are Mac Jones type quarterbacks, right? Like, they're not going to win you anything. They're not going to lead you to a Super Bowl just by themselves, but they're not going to go 0-16 with you either.
Listen, I'm looking to give maybe the benefit of the doubt. Nobody thought Tom Brady was going to go anywhere, but, I guess that's kind of not a great comparison. But his wide receivers are comparing him to Tom Brady. I don't know what to do anymore, I guess. Maybe it's because the Patriots need a quarterback. I'm just looking at every one of them. I don't know. My life, maybe the Patriots will draft Kellen Mond. I have no idea.
Hey, look, Kellen Mond is a good quarterback.
Alex.
He was fun at TAMU. If you can get him in the 6th round, take him. But he's not going to be the best. He's not going to be the 5th best quarterback out of this draft.
Well, he rated him 4th.
Sorry, 4th. Sims,
No,
you're tripping, bro.
He shouldn't even be anywhere in the top 6.
No.
So obviously, right before we go to break, what is your top 6? I guess don't. If you don't want to include Kellen Mond, don't add him. But who's your top 6, top of your head?
All right, so I'll go T-Law 1, and then I'll go Lance 2, Fields 3. People are sleeping on Kyle Trask. He's coming out, right? He's in the draft.
How is Kellen Mond over Kyle Trask?
Yeah, I'm not making that up. Trask is in the draft, right? Yes. Okay, cool. So I'll go Trask 4. You know what? I'll put Mond ahead of Wilson.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not a Zach Wilson believer at all.
Okay.
I'm not a Kellen Mond believer either, but I'm more of a believer in him than Zach Wilson.
Okay. I'm going based off my likeness. Usually I'm 100% on these. I never miss. So we're going to go Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. That's an interesting one. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Trey Lance and then Kyle Trask. I'll put Trey Lance over.
Stop sleeping on Trey Lance.
I'll put Trey Lance over.
Stop sleeping on Trey Lance.
We will see, though. We'll see where Trey Lance gets drafted. We'll see how he does at his pro day. We will see. These are all great questions. Alex, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, as always. When we come back, we're talking golf. I know. Abby Bass joins us to talk about the Arnold Palmer Invitational coming up this weekend. Stay tuned.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back to Almost Game Day. Like I said, we're going to be talking some golf. Now, when we talk golf, I know my fair share, but I always have to bring somebody that knows just a little bit, probably a lot more than me. And that's why I brought Abby Bass on to talk about the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Abby, thank you so much for coming. How excited are you that we're kind of getting in some big tournaments here with the Arnold Palmer? You got the Players, and you got the Masters coming up in a month. So what are your thoughts on the coming up tournaments?
Well, thank you so much, Sean, for having me. It's my Almost Game Day debut, and I'm so glad to be here. Yeah, the Players have a lot of important tournaments coming up this week. I mean, we already have the Arnold Palmer here, and then we have the Players next week, and then we have a couple more Florida tournaments, some Texas tournaments, and then before you know it, we'll already be at the Masters. And I think the Arnold Palmer is really important for some of these underdogs to kind of come through because, you know, this week we're not seeing the big names. We're not seeing Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, John Rahm. So this is going to be a great opportunity for us to see kind of some underdogs and how they compete against some of the big names that are here, like Rory McIlroy and some others that are here as well.
Yeah, you said underdogs, and that's very rare in golf these days because a lot of the big names play every tournament. It's every weekend they're playing, getting ready for these big tournaments. And they just had a Masters a couple months ago. Well, I would think a couple months ago. It's like, what, November? Around that
November.
time? So you have this tournament, which is a great tee-up for the Players and Masters. Are there some of these guys that, again, aren't as well known? Who are some of these guys that you know that could, you know, really make a name for themselves this weekend at the Arnold Palmer?
Yeah, when we look past, 15 years at the Arnold Palmer, the past 15 years, only 2 Americans have ever won this tournament over that stretch, and that, of course, was Matt Every and Tiger Woods, of course. But I think when we look at the defending champion at the Arnold Palmer, that is Tyrrell Hatton, he is the highest ranked player in the world at this tournament here. So I think, obviously, the conditions last year were absolutely terrible, and he was still able to pull a win at 4 under par. But I think this week we're really going to need to probably see 12 under, 13 under par in order to win. So I think definitely Tyrrell Hatton is somebody to look out for just because he is the top-ranked player in the world at this tournament. And I don't want to call him an underdog, but Jordan Spieth is making his Arnold Palmer debut. And so, it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of handles Bay Hill. He is coming off of 2 top 5 finishes over his last 3 tournaments. And so, everyone knows Jordan Spieth, but, since 2016, we haven't really seen a lot of him. We haven't really seen that kind of powerhouse player that we're used to seeing from Jordan Spieth. So I think definitely Jordan Spieth, Tyrrell Hatton are just a couple of names that we could be looking out for.
Now, obviously, Rory McIlroy is playing. He's the fan favorite. Is he your favorite, and what makes him so special in this tournament? He's gotten close, but what's going to put him over the edge this weekend?
Yeah, there's no question. I believe Rory McIlroy is the favorite coming into this week, maybe just shy of Victor Hovland. But the thing with Rory McIlroy is, he won this tournament in 2018. like you said, he has come close here. Over the past 4 tournaments, he hasn't finished worse than tied for 6th at Bay Hill. You know, and this course really does suit the long hitters. Rory McIlroy, of course, we know he's a bomber off the tee. I mean, he hits the ball ridiculously long, and so I think that this course really suits him. But I think for all of these players, it's going to be really important to stay out of trouble, and because half the holes here at this course do involve water. So I think that hitting a good tee shot, hitting a good approach shot, that's going to be very important for all these players. But, you know, I really believe that Rory McIlroy has the best chance to get himself in contention on Sunday. I have no doubt that he'll probably be in the final pairing on Sunday. So it's really going to be a struggle for all these underdogs, some of these players that we haven't seen a lot of, try to beat Rory McIlroy this week.
Yeah, and you're talking about the underdogs, but there's also 2 players I'm very curious about, Bryson DeChambeau, Ricky Fowler. Ricky Fowler, usually when he comes to the Arnold Palmer, he plays exceptional. It's one of his best tournaments of the year. He knows the course well. Bryson DeChambeau, just sheer talent, probably right now arguably the best golfer on the tour. What are you looking to see out of these 2 guys? Is this a tournament that Ricky Fowler can, really again get back into that win column and win here? And can Bryson DeChambeau just continue his success that he's had for the past couple years?
Yeah, it's really interesting about Ricky Fowler. I mean, he's one of those guys that everyone kind of knows about. He's loved by the fans. I mean, he's just, he is really popular on this tour, but he isn't the type of player that wins a lot. He still hasn't won his first major, so obviously a lot of eyes are going to be on him going into the Masters. But I think as far as Bryson DeChambeau, I have no doubt that he is an extremely talented golfer. Obviously, he just is coming off that U.S. Open win at Winged Foot last year. But I do worry because off the tee, he can be hit or miss. Obviously, he is one of those long hitters, but it is going to be concerning, with all that water that is on this course. I think, in the practice round on Wednesday, he was trying to, hit the green off his driver on number 6, I believe, and he hit 2 water balls. So I don't think he's afraid to take risks, which is obviously really important in golf. You have to take risks, you have to put yourself in contention on the weekend. But with Bryson DeChambeau, I mean, I feel like sometimes his length kind of gets, a lot of people think that, just because he hits it far means that he's an exceptional player. But it's really important, especially at this course where the fairways can be really narrow, that you really need to be hitting it accurate off the tee and not just driving it 350 yards.
It'll be interesting. There's a bunch of great players, great contenders this weekend, and we're definitely going to have you back on, Abby, for the Masters players. There's a bunch of great tournaments coming up, but thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for tuning in to Almost Game Day. We got a bunch of great content coming up, a bunch of big news in the NFL, NBA, etc. So please come on back, follow HTF on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, subscribe, like the videos, do all that stuff. I'm Sean Green. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.